Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. The love of Kingdom Hearts continues with the first video of Kingdom Hearts Month. I'm super excited. We are continuing the challenge of Kingdom Hearts 1 with no equipment. Now this is a part 2 video. If you want to watch part 1 to understand the rules of the challenge run and where we left off, I will link the video at the end of this one, and I will also link it in the description. I highly recommend watching the first part as it turned out extremely well, and it is the most proud I have been of a video I've made so far. With all that out of the way, let's pick up where we left off in the run. After beating Deep Jungle, we did get the Warp Gummy for the Gummy Ship, so we can now travel to the rest of the worlds in the game. So we do have to head back to Traverse Town to see if Cid can install it for us. Once we arrive, we start to grind almost right away. The boss is not as easy as the first time around, so we just want to be as prepared as possible. Level 18 ends up not being great though, as we do get an item slot, which is nice, but the skill tech boost is just kinda worthless. At least we got the bad level up out of the way. We just keep walking around, unlocking some shortcuts for the areas, and we unlock Merlin's hut so we can do Pooh Bear stuff later. The world is kinda boring, but it gets us useful items like AP boost, defense boost, and strength boosts. These are going to be needed for later in the run, so it is worth it. But after all that garbage, we finally continue the story by talking to Cid and meeting up with Leon and Aerith, who are for some reason just chilling in this weird cave behind a locked sewer gate. Weird. But with the thought of how much of a dog doo-doo level 18 was, we grind to level 19 real quick, and we get a strength increase. This is a much better level up than stupid tech boost. We finally go back to Cid since we talked to Sewer Boy, and he tells us to go give a book to this guy named Merlin. Well, I honestly forgot this is how we get Pooh, so I unlocked the area completely out of order for absolutely no reason. Oops. Trying not to think of the time wasted, we go give the book to Merlin and we unlock Pooh. And we also unlock summons, but I want to give another quick rule right here. Just like the additional party members, I will not be using any summons this run. Summons are honestly just okay in Kingdom Hearts 1. Only really Simba, Genie, and Mushu are pretty good, so they honestly just don't impact the run enough in my opinion. I honestly don't find any value doing the Pooh stuff yet. I usually like to have a couple of pages first, so we just kind of continue with the story, and we finally see Riku again.
Riku!
Hey, cut it out.
Come on, he's my
But
friend.
unfortunately, he's become even more of a dick, and he just kind of pieces out for being jealous we have some more friends than he does.
Nice going.
Trying to ignore the fact that our friend is being a big old buttface, we see a house with some lights on. As we come inside, it's actually just the Final Fantasy crew, just kind of chilling around talking. So, we join in the conversation, but you know Cid, being a grouchy old man, he tells us we have to take care of the keyhole first, and he tells us about a bell that's always ringing in the second district that might have something to do with it. So we go to the second district to investigate. We get into the area, we kill some Heartless, we crash into a wall like some animals, and we finally get into the bell area. We ring the bell a couple of times, and for some reason, ringing the bell changes the entire construction of the fountain near the gate. 'Cause you know, that's how architecture works. We do this until we get the right panel we need, and we finally start the boss fight of this world a second time. Reverse armor is a tad harder than guard armor. A big reason for this is something I forgot to mention in the first video as to why we picked the sword and discarded the shield other than just the buffs and debuffs. We don't have guard. With these settings, we don't get guard until like level 27. So for a boss like reverse armor, this is just brutal. We can't deflect any attacks, and we still get two-shot by any attack. And just like the first time here, we failed in our first attempt at the boss.
Heal.
But thankfully for us, the second try is a lot luckier. We tried just to target the body and then the limbs when they are weak. This ends up working really well, and we end up beating reverse armor with little effort on the second try, which I did not expect. Now with the warp gummy, we can take a warp space panel thing to go to more worlds. But first, we hear of a Colosseum round, and that there is a new sea to take on. They'll have the little greedy gremlins taken out for some rewards. And as you just heard, my little greedy gremlin man inside cannot turn down some free easy rewards. The fill cup starts, and we honestly breeze through these first rounds at first. But unfortunately, that cockiness gets to us, and we do lose the first time around. I forgot to equip more items, and we kind of just ran out of magic, so we got slapped by the body of guard armor. Oh boy. We come back with now some items equipped and honestly a little more humble, so we blast through the rounds again, and this time we end up coming out on top. We beat the fill cup, and we get one of the best magic spells of the run, Gravity. Now with Gravity in our back pocket, we can finally head to the next world of the run, Agrabah. I'm honestly not too worried about this world, other than some enemies that can hit kinda hard. 3 out of the 4 bosses here are honestly super easy. One of the bosses here though is going to be a nightmare. This world is honestly really short. If you know what you are doing and where to go, you move on with the story in a super breakneck pace. So we kind of just go through the motions. We find Jasmine in her amazing hiding spot. And we go find and rescue Aladdin from drowning in some sand. Saving Aladdin from sand then kind of leads us into the first boss of the area. He's really worried about Jasmine, so we have to go track her down again in Agrabah, which again, she has some amazing hiding skills, and when we find her, that's when the boss fight starts. The boss is called Centipede, I think, and I know a lot of people who struggle with this boss, but this thing is kind of super easy. All you have to do is just use Sonic Blade to kill all the pot spiders, and he can't leave the first area. Then you can kind of just stand in front of his head, and he can't hit you if you were standing directly in the middle of his face. Just constantly hit him, and this leads to a very easy win with some tasty level ups. Honestly, we are on a high right now. Nothing can bring us down. We sure are dying here and there, but so far, Clayton has been our only real obstacle. We've been taking out enemies pretty easily, we're not really dying all that often. It's honestly been a pretty smooth experience. Until this jerk face. The chamber boss fight just sucks. He is super hard for this point in the run. He's constantly moving his head back and forth. His hitboxes for his eyes are super wacky. And he is constantly summoning Heartless that will track you down, along with the eye lasers that the chamber fires that are also tracking you down to blast you in the back. This fight honestly just comes down to pure and honest luck. You have to have good cycles every time and make sure to take down the eyes as fast as possible and try not to get too shot from all the things trying to kill you in the area. I'm fine. Thankfully, after a few attempts, we finally get this boss down and we can finally move on with the rest of this quote-unquote short world. I know I've joked about it twice already, but honestly, this world is not long. It just has a lot of bosses. And even though we just got done with an annoying boss fight, we're already about to fight the final boss fight of this world that has 2 phases. And that being Jafar. Compared to the chamber boss fight, this man is a complete joke. His first fight is just long because he flies around the arena and then you have to chase him down and then you gotta whack him a couple of times and then you gotta repeat this process. But after a few minutes here and there, you can take him out and get a free level up. But don't think you're done there, because there is no rest for the wicked. We have to fight Jafar again, but now he's bigger. And somehow this fight is even easier than the first one. You can't damage the genie form of Jafar, so you just have to follow Iago around and attack the lamp that he's holding. If you're lucky like I am, you can get Iago's pathing to get stuck, and you can just wail on the lamp. This leads to another easy win and some more free level ups. With Agrabah done, next up is Monstro. Monstro is kind of annoying, but it's not as bad to get through as I remembered. Monstro has 2 sections to go through. The first section is chasing Pinocchio down while Riku teases you like a little prick.
Riku? What are you doing here?
Just playing with Pinocchio.
And a lot of people honestly get confused onto where to go in this section, since they usually just follow Riku. But what you actually want to do is make a turn in the area and just follow the path that it takes you through. You will get to Chamber 4 in no time and get to the first boss fight. This boss fight has 2 phases And the first phase is pretty easy. Riku's here to help, which is nice because he does some extra damage here and there, but all you really have to do to the boss is whack him a few times here and there, heal when needed, and then it's on to the second part of Monstro. After the boss fight, we finally get high jump and can move on to the second part of Monstro, which is honestly nothing special. It's just fighting the same boss we already have, but now he has more health. This fight is a little harder than the first one, as he can now spit acid at you and it can poison you for a little bit. But honestly, the best strategy is just to relentlessly jump at him and hit him. I mean, sometimes he falls over with a little tummy ache, and you can just whack it for some health orbs and a little bit of extra damage. He is a little healthy, so it does take a few minutes, but we do beat him on our first try, and we can move on to the worst world in the whole game. I know we've honestly just kind of been blasting through worlds at this part of the video, and we've had some good pacing, but Atlantis kills that pacing and stops it in its tracks. Atlantis is terrible. I think this is a universally panned world. Everyone can agree that this world is straight up ass. The world is designed to mess with your muscle memory of the game that you have learned up to this point. You can no longer dodge and or block, and now it's replaced with just going up and down in the water. The reason that this is a big deal is when you get Dolphin Kick later in the world. The ability tells you that you can activate it by pressing circle twice, but what it does not tell you is that circle and square both activate this effect. So if you try to hit circle, but you realize that you messed up and need to go up, then you hit square, you will just do a dolphin kick instead of actually moving up or down. The movement in this world is just absolutely infuriating. This world just messes with the flow of combat which you've gotten used to before this world. You lose almost all of your combat abilities, so you've trained yourself to go forward if you're trying to attack an enemy from far away, but in Atlantis, Sora just swings his big old keyblade like a big old dingus dangus. You now have to manually swim towards the target to hit them after you have knocked them away from your combo. This is just absolutely obnoxious, and I don't know why they designed the world like this. This honestly all sucks because we have to grind here. This is the best place to level up in this part of the run because enemies give you a lot of experience, and we have to get to level 30 to get a very large upgrade for the run. Even though we have to grind, we tried not to get bored and frustrated at the same time somehow, so we just grind out the story along with grinding out some enemies. Ariel wants us to follow her so we can meet her father. Triton gets mad at us that we are here, so now we have to leave. And now Ariel tells us to follow her so we can look at this weird shape that is in her wall that looks like a crystal version of the trident head that the king holds himself. Ariel wants to find it because she wants to learn what this hole does, and we finally get the trident for her and try to stick it into the socket. Spoilers, this does not go well. Doing all this was honestly just Ursula pulling the strings behind us like a little bunch of puppets, which is bullshit because we just got out of Monstro. And now we have to fight her, and we have to fight her twice. And I am not going to lie. This part of the run almost broke me. Ursula is a hard enough boss on her own, but she is easily the hardest boss of this challenge. And the fact that she has 2 different boss fights is just agonizing. The first fight is hard due to crowd control. You have to hit this cauldron in the middle of the area, and you have to hit it with magic to make it explode, so then you can damage Ursula. But while you are doing this, she is spinning around the arena, and the 2 dumb eels are trying to hit you from each side. This causes a lot of combo deaths, of them just both hitting you, or Ursula hitting me twice in a row, and this fight just frickin' sucks. After realizing spamming the cauldron out of frustration with magic is not a good idea, we learned some patience for the fight. This fight is a little bit easier if you kind of hold yourself back, wait for Ursula to throw a potion into the cauldron, and then just hit the cauldron a couple times with the proper magic spell. With this done, you can beat the boss fight pretty fast, and you can move on to the more agonizing part of Phase 2. And the second fight is the reason I almost quit the run.
Hey everybody, Editing Riku here. I don't know why I didn't really go into this while I was recording the audio. I had just gotten out of work, so the audio is not the best. But the reason that I almost quit this run is that this one boss fight almost took me 2 hours to do. That recording is just this boss fight. So now you can understand why I almost quit the run.
During this fight, Ursula is now huge, and you can only really hit her face. The whole fight you are getting blasted by lightning over and over and over. This also does a lot of damage. 2 bolts is enough to kill you, and if you are not careful, the lightning hitting your dead team members can also hit you. And this is all in just the first part of this boss fight, by the way. In her second part of the boss, when she reaches half her health, the lightning bolts that are coming down on you are now twice as fast, and she can do an AoE attack around her head that almost takes you out in one shot by itself. And each attempt of this fight takes around 20 minutes. This is just for one attempt, since you have to be super careful. You can only hit her a couple times before you have to back off, because if you don't, you'll just get hit by 2 lightning bolts and you will die, having to start it all over again. I kept getting to the last health bar and getting killed over and over and over again. But during these attempts, I actually found an incredible trick that I never really knew to do before this challenge run. With this trick, you can get a guaranteed combo attack hit off in maybe 2. And honestly, all you have to do is once Ursula tries to suck you in to eat you, you just can dolphin kick to get behind her head. Now the timing on this is a little specific. You kind of have to do this while she's winding up the sucking motion, or else you'll just get pulled into the little airflow that's coming into her mouth. The reason that you want to do it during this animation is that the lightning bolts won't strike you during the animation of her breathing in. So now you can really just let loose and not have to worry about getting blasted by these stupid lightning bolts. It still takes a really long time since she's a little healthy, and you can really only get 1 or 2 combo strings in before you have to redo it all over again. But with luck and patience, we finally take her out, and we can finally get out of this abysmal world and move on to a nice, fun, happy, and scary world. Thank you so much if you got to the end of this video. These videos have been the most fun I have had on YouTube so far, and I am super proud of them and how they've turned out. This is also the first time I ever drew a thumbnail for a video. I kind of liked how it turned out, so I'll try to do it here and there, but I can't guarantee it will be on every video. If you did enjoy the video, please make sure you like and subscribe to the channel. It really does help out, and if you especially like Kingdom Hearts, this is Kingdom Hearts month for my channel. We have 2 more videos coming out this month related to Kingdom Hearts. So if you really enjoy Kingdom Hearts stuff, you will want to definitely see the next video I have planned. With all that said, my name is Riku. Take care, everyone.